So, what's the price now? 11,000? 12,000? 13? You know, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to talk about the people who use Bitcoin for whom the price doesn't matter. And why? Here we go. What do you need to have? Three things that the peer-to-peer economy would work, right? It actually has worked before Bitcoin. For example, it's a peer-to-peer cash that was already here for centuries. The Arabs had a Hawala system, Hindus had their own system, right? Now we have Bitcoin. So after Bitcoin, we have that. What else we need? We need people, right? So we have people using that, we have critical mass. What's after that? We need actually them to transact with each other, right? And the whole thing, the sharing economy, with the tech, it's disrupting all the industries, right? For example, 10 years ago, who would think that you could sleep at some stranger's home or you would get into a stranger's car, right? We do that right now. So now we are disrupting the finance with Bitcoin, and we're building the applications on top, which is showing us that the future is going to be built on top of Bitcoin. So we built Paxful, right? In 2015, I was homeless in New York, and with my co-founder Ray, we actually started the first business, which was for the retail businesses accept Bitcoin. But the thing was that we solved the problem that did not exist. So the problem is that people did not have Bitcoin, so we started to explore how people can get Bitcoin. And one of the options was with a peer-to-peer approach. And now you can buy Bitcoin from other people through Paxful. Bank transfers, online wallets, PayPal, right? With the cash, with gift cards, anything you can imagine. As long as there's somebody who sells Bitcoin for anything, right? Then there's a guy like who will buy from you. So that will enable you. What it can enable you? You can basically convert any form of payment into any other form of payment. I will bring you examples what people do. But for example, the simplest thing is that let's say you have a bank account in US and you want to send money to Japan. What are you going to do now? You're going to send a wire, right? International wire. How long is it going to take? Anybody knows? 3 to 5 business days, right? How expensive is that? $50, right? So what you can do actually with Bitcoin, okay, you can send Bitcoin directly to the person in Japan, but he needs to know how to convert it back, right, into his local cash. But Bitcoin is like hard, you know, it's for the geeks, right? So what else you can do? You can sell Bitcoin on Paxful with the local bank transfer and tell like, hey, my mother is in Japan, and here's her bank account, please send her money, right? And that's it. It can happen like within 1 or 2 hours. You have Bitcoin right here, you find somebody in Japan, and they're gonna send you money into local bank account. And the use cases are massive. I will tell you more. How many more? So there are 6 big use cases, and the 7th one is the one we do in Africa. I'll talk about that too. We look at our users, right, and then we see what they do. So we have structured into 6 big use cases. So let's go with the 2 first ones, which you all know. Like any new technology, it starts with the gray markets, right? First internet transaction was actually $25 purchase of weed, right? And same with the Bitcoin. The first use case was the dark markets, right? Sports betting, because it's what? Superior form of payment, form of money. So after that, it's speculation. We're not going to talk about that. We all know all these exchanges, right? What they do, and there are no regulations, or they're just coming, and maybe that's what's driving the price now, right? Or why the price is going up now? Is it the natural adoption, or is it the speculation? We don't know. But anyway, things could be much worse, right? Remember the Miami Inside Bitcoins in 2018, January? That was something, right? When all these ICOs were booming. But I believe that some regulations are actually good, and they should be the ones that not closing the doors, but they should open the doors, right? So let's talk about the real use case, what you can do. It's payments is the first one. When you want to do international commerce, for example, from Africa to send money to China, there are some capital controls. For example, you can send in Nigeria or in Kenya only $200 a day in US dollars, right? Because the country, it doesn't have the US dollars reserves, that's why they put limitations on their people. It's not like the China who doesn't want people to send out the money, just the country doesn't have the world reserve currency. So what they do, they find somebody who has Bitcoin in Africa, they sell it with a local bank transfer, so they get Bitcoin, they send it to their Chinese friend in China, and the Chinese guy, he buys on AliExpress some electronics and send back to Africa. So that's how you restore the importing power. Another one is e-commerce. I was on a plane in Africa, and there was one lady who was selling her merchandising on Instagram. She didn't even have an e-commerce store. I asked why, and she said, well, to accept Europeans and US credit cards, I need to have Stripe, right? I need to have a bank account. I need to have a European company, which would cost her $2,000–$3,000, but that's a lot, right? So what she's doing, she's simply accepting Bitcoin, and then she's just selling there online, maybe with a profit. So I'll tell you about the profit part later. Next thing is the remittance. Again, everybody thought Bitcoin is going to disrupt remittance market, right? But it will. But we just need to get there. We need to build very user-friendly products so that even a grandmother in Venezuela or in Africa can use them. That's how we're going to for real disrupt. Okay, here's an example. To send money from South Africa to Kenya, you need to pay at least a 10% fee. And you have to stand in the line for a few hours in Kenya. There are a lot of workers in South Africa from other African countries. So what you do instead, again, you find somebody who will buy from you Bitcoin for cash, and then you send Bitcoin to somebody in Kenya and do the M-Pesa transfer, because everybody has M-Pesa there. There's like 40% are with a bank account, 60% are unbanked, right? But 95% of people in Kenya, they have M-Pesa, and it's big there. And the last one is wealth preservation. In Turkey, Nigeria, Argentina, the yearly inflation is like 20–30%, right? I'm not going to talk about Venezuela, what's happening there. That's why you put your savings into Bitcoin, and that's how you save your money. And here's a seventh one we actually have, and what we are doing at Paxful is we try to show that Bitcoin, it can be used for social goods, not just bad people are using that, or criminals, right? So we have built already 2 schools in Uganda and building 2 more schools in Kenya. And anybody who wants to contribute with us, just to follow our hashtag Built with Bitcoin. Even the fake Satoshi, Craig Wright, he has donated something. So if you follow the conversation on Twitter, you actually will see that, which is awesome, actually, you know. So another thing what we should all be doing is the education. We have invested a lot into education, educating new people, young people who have never heard about Bitcoin, or they have heard it's used for the pyramid schemes and all this MLM schemes, right? That's what happened in Africa when we asked how many people lost money with Bitcoin. Anybody lost money like in some scams or something, not with trading? All right, so in Africa, it was half of the audience. They actually know Bitcoin for all these schemes, right? And that's why we were showing them all the slides, what you can use Bitcoin for. And we believe that Africa is the one that will adopt Bitcoin the fastest and the first, because young people are there. They're hungry for like new knowledge, they're hungry for innovation, and they're open for that. And Africa is our second biggest market. It's about 45% of all our users. That's why we're not forgetting about them. And we're actually going to have another tour this July and August in Nigeria and Ghana. If somebody has followed some news, right, we're going to fix the PR disaster. And people actually are loving us there. So that's why we're there all in. So what you guys can do with Paxful, it's like local Bitcoins. Who heard of Paxful? Well, I'm sure a lot more, just the hands are tired, right? So you can start your own money service business on Paxful. You can do arbitrage. You can start selling Bitcoin for online wallets, for bank transfers, for gift cards, right? And just do arbitrage. And then once you have this other form of money, you find a way how to convert it back into Bitcoin. And why people are coming here to us to buy Bitcoin. Again, it's faster, right? You don't have to wait 3-5 days like with the brokerages or something, right? You buy directly from others. So, and sometimes when you buy from others, you can get it faster. Okay, maybe you have to pay more, but sometimes people are willing to pay more. And for normal people who just want to do the everyday transactions, you can get our mobile wallet, which we got out 1 month ago, and people really love it. So, thank you so much.